So there are many, many ways that have been created, and some that probably haven't yet to be created, of losing a match. However, invariably, if you do lose a match and you ask the riders, they will tell you it was the track's at fault. If you ask the team manager, he'll probably say something along the lines of they was trying to get the setups for the track. And the supporter will be going, there wasn't enough dirt, or they didn't water it, it was the track's fault. Isn't it sometimes just the rider's fault? Only in Speedway. So, good evening and welcome to the Speedway Tavern, sponsored by So-Called Studios. In the studio tonight we have Matt.
Good evening.
And we have got Webby.
Good evening.
My life, I think that's the most professional I've ever started this show.
I know, yes. Wait for somebody to fall off the chair there. So.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, I guess, well, where should we start?
At the beginning?
That's boring. Yeah, with what's been going on.
Well, plenty going on. Let's have a look around what's been going on in the roundup then. So we'll start off in the Premiership. Well, Sheffield closed the gap at the top of the Row Motor Oil Premiership with maximum points from a 50-40 win over Oxford on Thursday at Owlerton. The Tigers' six-match unbeaten run did come to an end on Monday, though, with a 51-39 defeat at Kings Lynn, although they did collect the aggregate point against the Stars. So Sheffield beginning to build a little bit of momentum again.
Yep, and Kings Lynn keeping up their good form. It sort of leaves us with the question, are Birmingham good enough to get the wooden spoon? I mean, so, you know, more on that later, I guess. So Duncan Pemberton's asked, "Hi guys, was you rained off last week?" What happened last week was we couldn't get a PR presenter replacement. That is, Isn't
it strange that we can't find anybody better than you?
It's weird.
It's strange.
It's really weird.
Scary.
I mean, on a serious note, with that, if anybody wants to come and join in and be part of this and have a go at presenting,
of course you can.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's open house.
Yeah.
Open house.
What would be great, really, is if we could have someone from each sort of area of the country, like somebody who could do a roundup from Scotland, roundup from the south.
Yeah, Matt can put them up, couldn't they?
Yeah. They'll have to sleep on the settee, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, yes,
or probably in the garage.
That's a good idea.
We'd love to have more people on the show.
Yeah, our door is always open, except when it's closed.
That's almost profound.
Yeah, it's open at the moment.
Yeah,
quite so hot.
It's very, very hot. Fred Graham says, "Evening, chaps. Good to hear positive news. Brummies look like continuing in 2025. Yep. Did you read that in the programme last night?
See, it's subject to confirmation. I think it's
but it certainly sounded positive. I mean, it's trying to squash some of the rumours that have been doing the rounds. I mean, it sort of brings us on to a little bit of what I'd like to talk about, which is how do you build a team? We know how not to build a team now.
Don't do it the way Birmingham usually do it, I think is the...
first thing is I would imagine you need to be, rules be damned, building your team now.
I think they need to look at that now.
Yeah.
So.
And do you know what? I was saying to a few people last night, and I'll do something to illustrate that in a minute, that if we actually kept the nucleus of this team with two good heat leaders, Freddie Lindgren hopefully being one of them. I'd love him to do a full season with us next year, whether that's going to happen. It's not a bad team, you know, and because they're all on low averages.
Needs more at reserve as well, really.
Right, so let's come to that.
Yeah.
So how do you build a team? I was looking at the makeup of our team. Now, Freddie Lindgren at number one is an out-and-out number one. No qualms there. At number two, we have Michael Palm-Toft. If you look at his average at number two, if he was riding in the Bellevue team, he'd be riding at reserve.
Yeah.
You look at our number three, which I believe is Victor Lampard.
Yes.
His average would have him riding at reserve in the Bellevue team. Number four is, it'll come into me in a minute.
It is at the moment.
Zach Cook, of course, yes.
Temporarily re-signed.
And his average, depending on how you went about it, he would either be riding as a second string, or he'd be riding at reserve. Now, people are blaming the track. That's where the blame is. We've got riders riding out of position. Not their fault necessarily. It's the composition of the team, and we know that we had to start building that team
late.
Yeah, we've had to do that the last 2 seasons. Next season has got to be different.
Yeah, they need to make an early start, don't they? I think they need to sort of get some big signings in. They can get in pretty early, then that sort of generates a little bit of positivity, doesn't it? I think certainly they needed a good number 1 and a good number 7. I think those are the 2 key areas that you need in any team. I mean, they're absolutely pivotal.
Right, I'm going to address something here. If you can pop it back up again. Somebody's said so. Oh, no, back down again. There you go, Rich Thomas. Birmingham trackers look poor on the 2 tele meetings. Needs sorting in winter. Well, first of all, on the first tele meeting, people were saying what a great track. Second, I'm fed up of blaming the track. If we go back 3 seasons, that was a poor track.
Yeah.
That was an awful track that we had. And we had riders from, the red car meeting being the obvious one, refusing to ride on it because there was holes and stuff. Now, there's no holes on that track now. They've worked really hard. There was plenty of dirt on the track last night. I know, because I was shoveling the stuff back. Yeah. There is still a blue groove on the inside, and it's not the best Birmingham track that I've ever seen, but it ain't the worst by a long chalk. And Brady Kurtz didn't seem to have much trouble. Jamin Lidsey didn't have much trouble. It was a bit gate and go, but it was not a poor track. We don't have the time to prepare it how we would like to, I think, is the problem at the moment, and I presume that's going to be sorted out from what I've been hearing. But it's not a poor track. I don't want to say poor riders, because they're not poor riders. They're out of position. The team was built wrong for the reasons that we've discussed. And I had high hopes for the team. And let's be honest, when you have your number 1 rider go from number 1 to reserve, you're in trouble, aren't you? Yeah. You're in trouble. And it's definitely not bumpy, by the way, Mr. Thomas. It's not bumpy. It did get dusty towards the end of the evening, but my life, was it hot yesterday? Did anybody notice whether it was hot?
Bit, yeah.
They've been pouring water on that track most of Sunday and most of yesterday as well. The amount of water that it's hot weather, it dries. Yeah, but I don't think the dust particularly came up until. No, the second half, really.
It's not been. I've been to meetings where there's been clouds of dust after the first stage. That's a poor track.
Yeah. So, my point is that I don't think the track is the best it possibly could be, but it's just too easy to blame the track. Too easy to blame the track and say that's what's at fault, when actually what's at fault is riders aren't fast enough and not making the gate. Part of that is because riders are out of position. You can imagine. I can hear that as well. Can you imagine Tom Brennan if he wasn't riding at number 5 and he was in the engine room at 3 or 4?
Yeah,
which is where he should be.
That's right.
So
it's. I mean, he's had a brilliant season, hasn't he, so far? But it seems the last couple of weeks or so, certainly from the Birmingham team, it seems to have caught up with him a little bit, doesn't it? So.
But it was okay. He was okay yesterday. He did a decent number 5 job, I thought.
Yeah.
So. Flint, unfortunately, is so out of form, needs a rest now, says Anthony Bailey. Well, 2 things. Who are you going to replace him with?
It's got to be another rising star, isn't it?
That's a problem, and he's doing okay in the lower league. He's been getting some good scores recently. So,
but his form for Birmingham really has been poor for a few weeks now, hasn't it? That's been a problem. I was expecting a bit more from him, to be fair. I thought moving back to Birmingham obviously would have really sort of galvanised him a little bit, because at times he found Monmouth Green a bit of a struggle. He had good meetings there, but it was sort of punctured with quite a few disappointing meetings as well. But it's just not really. He's not really hit the heights that I think a lot of people thought he would do. And I think what's in there for Birmingham as well is the fact that he made such an impression during his first spell, and people thought that he was just going to carry on. I mean, okay, it's a totally different league he's riding into, the one that he was in with the Birmingham team last time.
Just a bit. Anyway, I'd also.
It's worth pointing out as well. I mean, obviously he's got his critics. I mean, we both know Leon's biggest critic is himself.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, I've heard him muttering to himself very loudly under his helmet after clearly needs to relax. I've said it before. Nicky Coffey said when Ty rode at Brum, he said our track was great. Yes, he did.
And Ty's
He's not been a fan of our track, no.
So.
Elliot Hunter went to both rounds of the Youth Championship at Redcar and Workington last weekend to see Harry Fletcher get second at Redcar and win with a maximum at Workington. Also good to see crew brothers Liam Cox and disappeared. And Liam Cox and others on track who have rode at Birmingham in second halves. Yep. Andrew Green, riders to blame. Flint struggling in this league. Not sure how Sam is motivating the team, but doesn't seem much team spirit. I probably have to disagree a little bit there.
I don't spend any time in the pits, to be fair, so I can't comment on what the sort of spirit is in the camp.
I think, Sam's had a lot of criticism. Some of it deserved, some of it not. But I think he's a quick learner.
It's a new role for him. You know, I mean, okay, he's got skin obviously in the sport because obviously he was a fantastic rider, ex-world champion, but it's a completely different ball game when you're managing a team, which is something that he hasn't really had that much experience of yet.
Yeah, the Brum promotion needs a lucky break, says somebody who I can't see. However, is Sam the man for team manager? Who would you replace him with? I mean, that's always the question I'm going to ask in those sorts of situations. If this rider would be the best, is that, well, it's all right, very well saying he's not the best person for the job, but then who is?
Are people suggesting throw the checkbook out and go and get Roscoe? I mean, Roscoe's obviously got a huge amount of experience in team management, and he's a winner as well. You know, he demands nothing but the best.
What I'm hoping, and what I think possibly needs to happen, is that Sam has a bigger role in picking the team next year. Because I imagine people would.
He came into the job quite late, didn't he?
Yeah.
He obviously, I think he would have known in the build-up to when it was officially confirmed. What was happening? So
yeah, I mean, don't want to spend all night on Birmingham.
No, because we'll get moaned at.
Yeah, which is fair enough. But all the stuff coming on at the moment.
Please get your ride of the
Birmingham.
week in as well, please. Thank you very much.
Yes, that's a good idea. I'd like to. I've got a new nickname for a rider, by the way. So I want to see if we can get this new nickname out. I think Brady Kurt should now be called the Magician. Because he disappears. I've never seen that before. I'm sure it has happened, but he'd absolutely just totally disappeared under the.
Thankfully, he was all right.
He was fine. Yeah. He was laughing about it when he came out. Just said, "No, just pull me out. I'm okay."
Yeah.
Jeff's gone on about the fire at Mildenhall. Has anybody else seen that? I did see pictures of it earlier. Yeah, it looks horrific.
This is the first I'm hearing.
No,
of
that's the first I've heard of this. Yeah. So I mean, obviously, Mildenhall. There are plans for Mildenhall to come back next year. So hopefully, this hasn't done too much damage.
Yeah, it didn't look good.
Let us know.
Yeah, it didn't look good.
Pete Daniels. I don't think Pete Adams is interested. By the way, somebody's suggested that. And Roscoe is
Pete.
I
know that Pete Adams has said that he doesn't see his time in Speedo coming to an end, but I think it's probably he would return only on the presumption that there's absolutely no prospect of Wolves coming back. So
Shane Rawlings says at the end of the day, when you are running a company, you aim to employ the best manager available. I would add to that at a price that you can afford.
Yeah,
and that's important. I think we should get. This is my own personal opinion. It's probably against most other Birmingham fans' opinions, but I think actually Sam should be given at least another season if he wants to. Of course, that's the other thing. Nick Cover said that there was 16 fire engines at Mildenhall to put the fire out. Yeah. Big fire, says Pete Clark. So that don't sound very positive.
So I have seen pictures of it. Doesn't look that good.
Duncan Pemberton says pity Selena has been cut from the team and she won her last heat, I believe. Hopefully she'll get in next season in a championship team.
Yeah, she's lost a place at Workington, hasn't she?
Maybe she'll get in this year.
I think it's Paul Stark that's coming to replace him. Replace her. Sorry, fraudulent slip there. Yeah, I mean she's done okay, to be fair, hasn't she? She's not been a big scorer. But she's done whether
she's scored. She's kept her average, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Thereabouts.
She's Yeah, hopefully she'll get another chance. I mean, you know, there's going to be. I think there were cynics at the time, weren't they, saying, "Oh, it was just a publicity stunt." But you know, he did bring in a lot of good positive publicity for
what
working.
Is she a product of? Is she like come through the ranks of like women's sort of racing or?
Yeah, she obviously. Well, she's German. She races over in Germany, but she has raced in World Championship events for.
All right. Okay.
Okay, I've got a couple of answers for Rider of the Week. Can you pop up a little bit further for me, please?
I think we had one from. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, Rider of the Week, William Carnes. We've had a couple.
Yeah, I was going to suggest that. Second performance from him. Scored 14 points as a guest for Oxford at Middlesbrough last Friday. So
Elliot Hunt, William Carnes for getting 14 points at Middlesbrough versus Oxford. And Shane Rowland says you didn't answer my first question.
Okay, sorry.
What was the question? Sorry,
I
don't remember.
Is that it?
At the end of the day, when you are running a comp, and that's not a question, you aim to employ the best manager possible.
Okay, I did see a very long one. Oh, yeah.
Shane Rowlands, do the riders believe in Sam Ermolenko? I don't know how I'm supposed to answer that. You'd have to ask the riders. I've seen nothing that suggests otherwise. I've seen nothing that suggests otherwise. When they was out on the parade yesterday, they were all laughing and joking with him. I say that the riders they obviously respect Sam because of what he's achieved in the sport. Obviously, whether respecting what he's achieved in the sport or believing that he's the right man to be a team manager, of course, that's two different things, isn't it? So, yeah, I don't know. I've seen no reason to believe otherwise. Starkey, not a good signing, done nothing for 4 seasons, says Rich Thomas.
Yeah, at one point he looked like he was really going to prosper, wasn't he, Paul Stark? But it's just not. And again, another one who just seems to have he's had a lot of bad injuries as well, to be fair, over the last few seasons, which probably haven't helped. But you could probably argue this could be a make or break move for him to. If this doesn't work, he might find himself completely out in the cold, unfortunately, which would be a real shame.
Fred Graham says Tom Brennan at Glasgow and Workington at the weekend was real class and another double-figure score last night. He has been riding really well for Paul. Yeah.
And Paul have been flying, even though they've really sort of picked up, haven't they, over the last few weeks. So
apparently the fire is it was adjacent to the stadium in a barn and workshop, well alight and spreading towards the stadium. So that sounds possibly a little bit more positive.
Yeah.
So... Okay, so I'm going to choose my rider of the week right now, and that's going to be Tom Brennan for the reasons that I've said. You're going with William Carnes?
Yeah, I'll go for William Carnes, yeah. Who is going to be a real prospect, I think. Definitely.
Absolutely. Okay, what did we think of first time I've met him, by the way, Mr. Vuelas? Was it Antti Vuelas?
Antti Vuelas, yeah. Well, we're talking about riders that are struggling on the Birmingham track. He certainly didn't in the first stage. No. He won it by a good half a lap, didn't he?
Fairly slow time, to be fair.
Yeah.
But he looked at home.
Yeah, he seems to be settling quite well, doesn't he, at Belfie? Obviously, he came in difficult circumstances because of the injury to the Aussie lad. I can't remember his name now, unfortunately. But obviously, it's a move for Bellevue, and He looks a tidy little rider, to be fair, doesn't he? I was quite impressed with him when the win he had in that first stage.
Anthony Bailey says Nigel kept coming onto the track last night and looking at bends 1 and 2 right in front of you, Mike. What was he looking at?
I mean,
has he dropped a fiver?
I honestly don't know. I know there's been the surface of the track is really hard at the moment underneath the dirt that we've got, and it's really hard, and which is obviously making it difficult to soak the water in. Whether that's what he was looking at, I don't know.
It's got to be the same for a lot of tracks.
Yeah, I mean, there was nothing that I could see that was different last night to any other the last 3 or 4 meetings. So
Brian Reeson's gone for Emil as a rider of the week. Still banging top scores for Ipswich.
Duncan Pemberton says, back in the day I did a mate a favour and picked up Sambo Burrell and Henke Gustafsson from Kings Lynn and took them to Manchester Airport. Henke and Bo slept all the way. Me and Sam put the Speedway world to right all the way. A nice guy who loves his sport.
Yeah, he's still hugely passionate about Speedway. Sam, I think that definitely comes across. It comes across when he was doing his TV work in the past. And I think well, obviously we had him on the show a few weeks ago, didn't we? And that certainly came across when we spoke to him.
Yeah,
so.
Brian got me to pick up a rider once from what was then Coventry Airport. I can't think of his name. He was Swedish, Norwegian. I'm getting on a bit.
Yeah, I know who it is. Dan Forsberg.
Dan Forsberg.
Yeah,
That's it.
I know who it was.
Yeah, lovely chap.
One of your dad's favourite riders, I believe. Yeah. So, whose phone's going off?
It's not mine.
It's mine.
It's yours.
Of course it is.
Sorry. Nobody can use it. Nobody can hear it.
I know about it. We got a few more comments up. Antivolas was good at Speedway of Nations as well. He's got fast equipment and will be good at home, but the jury is out for some Bellevue fans on whether he will be good enough away from home. Some fans reckon we have too many throttle jockeys who struggle on the more technical tracks. Browne has come in for some criticism the last few weeks, as has Jamin Lidsey on the socials, but they both had a good meeting last night. Browne, thoughts?
That's a great name, that is.
It's a name.
It's like a Viking name, isn't it?
Yeah, I think he's come on well this season. I think he's been impressive in the two meetings he's had at.
Likes our track.
Yeah. I'll still. I mean, obviously, I said this at the start of the season. My concern with Bellevue is whether they're going to do enough away from home. I think they'll get in the top four, but it may well be that they have to sort of, I mean, they're Bellevue are more than capable of thumping any team at home, aren't they? It's whether they can avoid if they thump somebody or get thumped by somebody away from home in the first leg, whether they can thump them even bigger at Bellevue, which of course nearly happened last year with Ipswich, didn't they? They almost managed to.
Almost did it. And they seem to have a massive track advantage at the moment.
Yeah, a lot of Bellevue fans keep saying they don't think they have a home track advantage. They do.
They do.
And
they score, the fact that they score so heavily at home and then not quite so not heavily at all away from home. I mean, we should say, talking about last night's match, I mean, they nearly threw it away. You've got to say, in a sense.
Yeah,
Bellevue.
they were wobbling a little bit towards the end, weren't they, Bellevue? So if Birmingham had managed to force a superheat, I would have fancied Birmingham to have nicked
yeah, absolutely. I think so. It was good to see from a point of view of team spirit that they didn't, as has happened a couple of times over the past two seasons, it's gone now. I've got to be honest, I got to the interval and I thought, it's gone now. Myself, and then they proved me wrong, of course.
Hopefully they can take that little bit of fight they showed in the last few heats and sort of transfer that into the next meeting.
But as a Brummie fan and as Brummie fans, we have to understand what we've got. We've got a team with an average of 33.
Yeah.
Whereas, what is it, 41, 42, I think Bellevue have got.
Yeah.
Any matches that we win is a celebration.
But you can't you can't lose 2-5-1s in the first two heats.
No, I mean, if one of them had been a 4-2, we'd have won. Or even a 2-4, we'd have won that match last night, I think. But ifs and buts don't win anything, do they? So if you can there's a little bit about Ipswich I would like to read out.
My screen has just decided to
of course it
off.
has. There we go.
Hang on, it's come back on.
Here we go. Not there. What are you doing? I don't know. That's the one. For years, so many people blamed the Louis family and Rich Hawkins for our lack of success at Ipswich. Now we're successful again. The moaning has gone away. I might have to take that. Fred Graham, weather permitting, the biggest derby in UK Speedway will be taking place this Friday with Glasgow Tigers Speedway versus the Monarchs. Atmosphere will be electric with both sets of fans giving it big licks as well as all 14 riders. I mean, we will come on to that when we do with the Prediction League, but that's going to be a cracking match. Is that going to be on BSN, by the way? Does anybody know?
I don't know if it is. I might be tempted to
spend your spondulix.
Yeah, to buy that one. Biggest derby in UK Speedway probably is at the moment. I don't think it was bigger than Wolves Cradley personally, but it certainly wasn't. I don't think it certainly wasn't anywhere near as nasty as Wolves Cradley would be.
Nothing was. Birmingham Cradley could be nasty as well.
So talking about atmospheres, what's the best atmosphere at any? Not necessarily your own team, but
For me, that
anyone that
would
you've ever
have been
been to.
the 1982 British final.
For atmosphere.
Good, yeah, it was fantastic. And the British finals are always good atmosphere, I find. I was going to say something and it's totally gone. Not to worry.
Sorry.
Paul unbeaten at 40 meetings at home at the moment. Quite an impressive record for current day Speedway. And Kings Lynn had a good win against Sheffield with 2 good guests. But perhaps the guest situation is. But I mean, Kings Lynn have turned things around.
Yeah, they are sort of a bit more consistent now, aren't they? And they start getting some. So.
Oh, I love this piece. Pete Clark says, if you think the track at Perry Bar needs work, please come down on Sunday. With no match there on Monday, work relaying can start. We can supply you with a shovel. There is a lot to move. Yeah. The track's being worked on all the time.
Yeah.
I didn't get home myself until 1 o'clock this morning. So we definitely need more volunteers to help us there. So anybody out there wants to come and help.
I think that's what people tend to forget with Speedway, isn't it? That a lot of these people just give up their free time, don't they, for just for the love of the sport, really. So that's really what we need.
Okay, Luke Becker deserves a mention. Rode well for the Stars last night, and Richard Lawson, still a rider I'd love to sign. Still a rider I'd love to ride for Birmingham. Elliot Hunt, Scottish Derby isn't on BSN. Oxford versus Birmingham is on Thursday.
Yeah. You're going to be getting that one?
Does that answer your question?
That went down well, didn't it?
I mean, I will obviously be following it on the updates and probably, I mean, you can't really see us getting it. I mean, we've probably done better away from home sometimes this year, but yeah. Can I, Craig Smee says, can I ask what success Ipswich have had? Just being top of the league at the moment, we all know anything can happen in the playoffs.
That's it. They haven't.
They have for a long time flattered to deceive.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times over the past 4 or 5 years have we said, "Yeah, Ipswich to win the league"? When we predicted it quite a few times.
Yeah. I've predicted it again this year, so
maybe we should stop doing it. Maybe that's what.
Maybe it's our fault. Yeah.
It's your fault. Don't blame us.
Keenan Rue, Rider of the Week, sensational for the Witches at Kings Lynn on Thursday.
We're getting a few names in, aren't we?
Yeah, getting a few different ones for a change as well.
Okay. I wish I could remember what it was I was going to say. I was going to open up a whole can of worms, but not to worry.
Okay. Well, there you go. We've caught up.
Well, let's have a look.
31.
At this point, shall we take a look at the current league tables? Then we'll look at all three then.
Yep.
And we'll start off with the Premiership. So Ipswich still top with 31 from 17. Sheffield 28 from 17. Bellevue 26 from 18. Oxford 20 from 19. Leicester 19 from 15. Kings Lynn 11 from 14. Then there is a gap, admittedly, and there's Birmingham 6 from 16. So it really looks at the moment as if it's really the race for fourth, isn't it now, between Oxford and Leicester?
Yeah, I think the
other three are pretty much.
It's about who finishes where, I guess, with those. Who would your money be on?
I would probably go for Leicester, to be honest.
Okay.
Leicester obviously have got more of a home track advantage. I think haven't they? Oxford have had a lot of very close meetings at home. So I suppose the other question really is, can Birmingham avoid the wooden spoon? It's beginning to look very, very doubtful at the moment.
Personally, I've that ship has sailed now. I think Kings Lynn beating Sheffield last night and us not beating Bellevue.
Yeah.
Such a shame last night. It was a good crowd. That's what I was going to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
It was a really good crowd last night, wasn't it?
Yeah, Bellevue brought a lot down, didn't they? So they usually do when there's a sniff of an away win, to be fair.
Spoken like a true Wolves supporter. But it was a good crowd and a really a decent atmosphere, I thought. Even though we was, it was, oh God, we're 8 points behind already after 2 heats.
Yeah,
you can't recover from that really, can you?
Let's have a look at the Championship then.
Yep.
And Poole, obviously with their run of form, they're now top on 22 from 10. Scunthorpe 18 from 11. Oxford 16 from 9. Workington 12 from 11. Glasgow 11 from 9. Redcar 11 from 12. Edinburgh 10 from 13, Berwick 9 from 13, and Plymouth 8 from 8. So still very much in the balance there. That's for that league at the moment. Obviously, you would think now Poole got to be the favourites, haven't they? Especially with the form that they're on. Scunthorpe and Oxford looking good as well. Workington have probably surprised a lot of people, haven't they? They've sort of really jumped. They've really sort of started life back in professional speedway very, very well, haven't they?
Well.
So
we did worry about that at the beginning of the season, but yeah.
So at the moment, it really looks to be Poole. I think are there. I think Scunthorpe and Oxford, to all intents and purposes, they look fairly solid. Although I think they've still got a little bit of work to do. So really, it looks from fourth down to even possibly even Plymouth. You could argue, although I'm not convinced Plymouth will do enough away from home. Berwick started off really well, didn't they? But they've sort of fell away.
They surprised us at the beginning.
Yeah, they fell away a little bit now, haven't they? But they're only 3 points off the top 4, so it's quite open the championship at the moment in terms of because obviously it's top 4 this season. Obviously, to get to the playoffs, as opposed to being top 6.
You would say Plymouth are out of it.
Oh yeah, I don't think Plymouth will do enough on the road.
Yeah.
That's the concern I would have.
They have done better than I was expecting them to. I know the bottom of the league, but they've had some.
So how many meetings are left now, though?
For Birmingham, not many.
No.
I think we got a few. Sort of ends round about the August, doesn't it? End of August, if I remember right.
I don't know whether there'll be any meetings. Obviously, they got the British Youth Championship, which has been restaged. That may well be the last meeting of the season, I think. So
it's still 5 or 6
unless they do a challenge match of some description.
Mm-hmm. Well, they've done the challenge matches against Coventry, haven't they, in recent
That's
seasons.
what I was thinking.
Yeah,
you could do Coventry. You could do a 4-team tournament of Coventry, Cradley, and Wolverhampton, couldn't you? That would be interesting. It's been a while since I've seen a 4-team tournament.
Yeah, there used to be a staple of the schedule, didn't they, as well?
So that's a possibility, you would think. So, can Pemberton... Lawrence Rogers said they've got the Alan Graham Memorial September the 9th. So that's normally either us against Cradley, or maybe it'll be an individual, who knows. But we mustn't forget that.
Yeah.
Can you take it a bit higher for me? There we go. It's bloody. Okay, so Duncan Pemberton. It's bloody hard work being bloody hard work doing your job and trying to keep up with people coming on. It's a bloody hard work being a track staff member. I used to help out at Stoke, and while the family are in the bar at 10 p.m. having a good time, I was helping to take down all the boards and stack them so the dog meeting could go on the next day. Around 11 p.m. I would join everyone in the bar, filthy and tired. So I didn't finish last night. Until 12 o'clock. Might be an idea. What do you think? Should I just go through what we do in the evening after the match?
Yeah, go on then. Give us an insight.
So the match finishes and we're immediately on top of the sheets, taking the tyres off and chucking them over into the side so that the truck can come around and pick them up and load them on while we're putting them on. They load them on. If it's windy, we have to take the sheets up at the same time as we take the tyres up. If it was not windy like last night, we can go all the way around and take all the tyres off while the other guys get them onto the truck, take them into the pits, come back, put more on the truck, etc., until we've got all the tyres up. Then we have to go around picking the sheets up. While all this is happening, there's track work going on as well, cleaning the track up and all the rest of it, blading the dirt back and making it a smooth surface again. So then we're picking the sheets up, and those sheets are very heavy. Takes, if there's been rain, are very, very, very heavy.
Yeah.
And you have to fold them up in such a way as none of the shale that's on the sheets ends up on the dog track, or as little as you can possibly manage. That takes, probably taking the tyres off probably takes an hour.
Yeah.
It probably takes another hour and a half maybe to take the sheets off. In the meantime, there's other people putting the fence down, cleaning the boards, moving flags back and fire extinguishers back, and cleaning the pits. going around cleaning the greyhound track, getting off any of the shale that's on the greyhound track with a special shovel that they can use to shovel it off. You don't stop. You don't stop. Now, there was 4 people to do this yesterday. Oof. This is why it takes such a long time. There's 4 people, and then a couple of extras that come and helped us at the end. But that sort of job. Then you've got the air blowers that you've got to disconnect and make sure all the electrics are okay, and take the air blowers back in. I've probably forgot a lot. Pete's out there, he'll tell us. Pete Clark says, Duncan, what's a bar? A lukewarm coffee made by Lawrence Rogers is the best we get. And bloody grateful for it we are as well. So I actually didn't get home until 1 o'clock last night. I bet Pete got home even later than me. And Pete was there from, I don't know, 6 o'clock. He worked out that over the 2 days he works more for Birmingham Speedway than he does for his work. So,
yeah. You mentioned there about the kickboards obviously having to get the dirt that's thrown off the ones that they're going around afterwards. There, that is people think that's probably just something that's a bit of a small job, but it's really important as well. And certainly I've noticed that from doing the work I do at Birmingham. Obviously going on the centre green. That it's very difficult to see where the track stops and the fence starts. And if you're riding, you have to be absolutely certain, because you don't want to be sort of going out too far and then you hit the fence. Yeah,
exactly. You need to know what room you've got to go to make that outside pass, if that's what you're doing.
Yeah, so that's an important there. You see that during the meeting as well. People like yourself who are you're not being frustrated because they lose. You can just take it out on the fence.
Well, I am half the time, to be fair, but. Mark Anderson, evening gents. The blast from the past had a fantastic time at Glasgow and Berwick, thanks to the management and promotion for them allowing us to do the Scotland versus England last weekend, making £454 for the Ben Fund, money raised via one-off race jackets. This Thursday we will be at Ipswich with another special John Louis tribute jacket to be auctioned, and money raised added to what we have raised so far. Excellent. Fantastic.
Excellent.
Yeah, Ben Fund is
such an important thing. Yeah, absolutely.
And, sort of unique to Speedway, I think.
Pretty much is, yeah.
So what does the fund go to? Where does it go?
The Ben Fund.
Yeah.
That's for helping injured riders, essentially.
Right.
So obviously, if a rider's not riding, he doesn't get paid. Okay. So it's to help them through that period, and also that the money goes to people that have had long-term injuries and long-term
career-ending crashes and things like that. So
that sort of thing. So
because when I first heard about it, I thought it was for somebody called Ben.
No, it's short for the Benevolent Fund.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So right. Well, I think it's that time of the week.
Yeah, we'll do the prediction. We will go through the National League as well before we go, just because we want the National League.
Well, shall we do that now?
Go on,
because we keep missing that out.
So Leicester top at the moment on 13 from 6. Then you've got Oxford Chargers 12 from 7. The Scunthorpe and Sheffield combined team is on 6 from 5. Middlesbrough 5 from 8. Bellevue Colts 3 from 5, and Edinburgh Academy 2 from 5 in that one at the moment. So obviously the top 2 after those matches, obviously teams race each other home and away once, and the team that finishes top after these matches will be the National League champions. Of course, no playoffs in that league. It's not really worth it. It was with just 6 teams, but Leicester obviously have been pretty dominant in that league over the last few years, haven't they? They've been very, very strong, and they're obviously looking good there again.
I think home track advantage plays a bigger part in the lower leagues.
Well, if you look at their meetings so far at home, they've scored 53 against Bellevue, they've got 56 against Edinburgh, 55 against Middlesbrough, 63 against the Scunthorpe and Sheffield side.
Ouch.
And 47 against Oxford. So Oxford obviously ran them reasonably close, but some big scores there in that division. Maybe surprised a few people that Bellevue haven't done quite so much as well. To be fair, but they've only had 2 matches at home so far this season in the league. So
it doesn't help.
Yeah, and they've obviously had 3 matches away, and obviously all of those matches have resulted in defeats.
We should mention Oxford a little bit. I mean, at the beginning of the season, people, possibly us as well, were a little bit doubtful about the efficacy of riding in all 3 leagues.
Yeah.
So that But they're doing okay in all three leagues.
They are doing okay, yeah, to be fair.
It'd be interesting to know from an Oxford supporter what are the crowds holding up in.
Well, we were talking about this yesterday actually, because if you think about it, Oxford now is has sort of got the monopoly over that area, isn't it? Because it probably is now the closest track to London, isn't it? So you've got that sort of the Thames area and the southwestern. Sorry, so that's a big catchment area for. I mean, Oxford's how far is Oxford from London? It's about an hour away, is it?
About an hour away. Yeah, I'd say.
Yeah.
It's sort of halfway between Birmingham and London, isn't it? Essentially.
Yeah. I've got to get down there. It's one track that I've never been to. It's one track I do need to sort of get myself down to. I think. I mean, Workington's another one I'd love to get to as well, because there's been some rave reviews from people about the Workington track.
Yeah, I'd like to go. I'm so glad to have them back.
Yeah.
Duncan Pemberton's asked us to mention Chris Morton's ride for the Ben Fund.
Yeah.
More details, please.
Yeah, he's doing a ride, isn't he? I think he's riding to Cardiff, isn't he? He might be riding to Cardiff, or is he riding over to Poland for the next Grand Prix after that?
I'm guessing Duncan will let us know in a moment.
I'm sure it's one of those two. I know it is. But he has done it before, though. To be fair to Mort, so.
Nikki Kofi says Birmingham Track Shop has signed Freddie pictures and minimum £1 donation or money to the Ben Fund.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, there you go. It is Poland.
Yeah.
It is to Poland. That is
a long old journey. That is, isn't it?
Wow. Not on a speedway bike, is it?
I don't think you can get away with doing that on the road, though. So you can ride a speedway bike on the road.
No, you can't turn left.
Modified one. You
can't turn left.
Just go right. You get there eventually.
Well, how is it? Is this a push bike, a motorbike?
Yeah.
Give us some details, please. And also, if Duncan, if there's a website there, shove it up for everybody to see. We'll check that out.
I think that'd be a good idea to get one a modified speedway bike. With brakes, obviously.
With brakes and possibly with gears.
Yeah, gears.
Yeah. That was my impersonation of the speedway bike. I'm sorry for
it go?
Not doing it again.
Okay.
Definitely not doing it again. Okay.
Do we need to look at the tables of our own?
Yes, have a look at the. Gosh.
I don't think.
Apologies if it's not easy to read. There's been a lot of matches this week, unfortunately, so it is a bit.
It's quite a lot of red.
It's not, is it? I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll get it up another page.
Okay. Well, obviously, the big burning question that everybody wants to know the answer to is: have I managed to maintain my breathtaking heights? No. Okay.
No. Sorry, I've actually overtook you.
Have you?
Yeah. Oh, for goodness' sake! This page isn't available.
Well, while you're fiddling about with that, shall we? Oh, there we go.
There we go. So I can just about see Simon is still on top. And we've got Rich Thomas, Philip Gray, Matt, Kev,
Lily,
yep.
Andrew Green, Dave Twine, Elliot Hunt, John Bird, Gordon Gambrell, Nick Skippy Matthews, Duncan Pemberton, Chris Browne, Andrew Garner, Michael Harris.
Get in there.
So it's still mid-table.
Yeah.
I've dropped a little bit. I've dropped 2 places, I think. So
I can't see that. But how many points is Rich Thomas on?
125.
125. Okay.
Simon's on 131, sir.
So 6 points.
Yeah. Not insurmountable, but it's decently to have at this stage as he looks for his 4th consecutive title.
He tends to pull away now, doesn't he?
Yeah. Okay. Well, shall we make a start into our predictions then? I believe it's me to start this week.
Okay. Well, we'll start off now. I did inadvertently put this fixture on last week's post, so if you've already posted your predictions for this one,
you lost.
We will take this one. So we'll go for the first one tomorrow night, Poole against Glasgow. What a meeting that'll be.
I'm going to say 6 points to Poole.
I'm going to go 16 to Poole.
Interesting.
I was going to Poole by 12.
Okay, next up is Ipswich against Kings Lynn in the Premiership.
That's up to you, Matt.
Ipswich by 10.
Ipswich by 12.
Kings Lynn, no.
You never know.
You do.
Ipswich by 12.
Okay. Oxford against Birmingham is the next one.
Sorry.
Wow. Okay, Chris.
Oxford by 16,000.
Okay. You think Birmingham going to do that good? Okay. I think Birmingham are going to go really well here and really surprise people. So I'm going to say Birmingham losing by 10.
Well, they did well there earlier in the season.
They did,
in very difficult conditions as well, didn't they? Because Oxford made a flying start in that meeting and Birmingham came back at them really well. But I would say in this one, Oxford by 12.
Okay.
Well, Simon's agreed with me. No one's ever agreed with me.
I can't agree with that.
Okay, Sheffield against Leicester is the next one on Thursday.
Sheffield versus Leicester. I'm going to say Sheffield by 10.
Sheffield by 14.
Sheffield by 8.
Okay, good luck to the lads in the British Youth Championship. Of course, that's at Bellevue on Friday. That's not as part of the predictions, but obviously we wish all those lads all the best.
Absolutely.
The next one is the big one, the Scottish Derby, Glasgow against Edinburgh.
It's up to you.
Right, which of the big cities shall I upset first?
Yeah.
Shall I upset then? I'll go for Glasgow by 10.
Okay. I'll go Glasgow by 4. It'll be closer. Derby's all
I'm going to say Glasgow by 10 as well.
Okay.
I just think that Glasgow have been so much better than Edinburgh this year, but Edinburgh it's one of them meetings, isn't it?
They haven't had a great season, I don't think, Glasgow, after the highs of last season, really, though, have they?
No.
Then we drop into the National League for the Bellevue Colts against Oxford.
And that's up to you, Chris.
Oxford by 6.
I have to do at least one, don't I? Draw.
Yep. I'll go Bellevue by 8 in that one.
So we've got every possible result across the three of us there.
Yep. Redcar against Workington is the next one.
So I'm beginning to wish I'd done this one as a draw now. Redcar by 4.
Redcar by 8.
Redcar by 6.
Although I think Workington have actually won there already this season. So next one is Scunthorpe against Plymouth.
That's up to you, Matt.
Scunthorpe by 20.
Scunthorpe by 12.
Scunthorpe by 16.
Okay. Then on Saturday afternoon, it's Workington against Redcar, the return match.
And that's up to you, Chris.
Redcar by 6.
Workington by 10.
Workington by 4. Also on Saturday night, it's Berwick against Oxford in the Championship.
I'm going to say Oxford by 6.
Berwick by 4.
Berwick by 6.
Okay, Plymouth against Scunthorpe is the next one. That one's also a return from the night before.
That's up to you, Matt.
Scunthorpe by 2.
Scunthorpe by 6.
Scunthorpe by 4.
Okay, next up on Monday is Bellevue against Birmingham. Oh dear.
I'm so glad I haven't got to start this one. It's your
Bellevue by 18.
Bellevue by 22. Yeah.
I'm going to say Bellevue by 30.
What?
Right.
I'm going to.
Is that possible?
With Freddie Lindgren in the team.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm going to say that. Yeah.
Wouldn't he just walk out?
Kings Lynn against Leicester is the next one. That's also on Monday night, and that's the last one for this week.
I'm going to say a draw. I've got 2 in today.
Kings Lynn by 4.
Kings Lynn by 8.
And that concludes our predictions for this week then.
Okay.
So Duncan Pemberton's come up with some more details. So Mort, with 2 others, is riding his bike from the Cardiff GP to the Rocklaw GP over August 17th to the 31st. He has a GoFund page called Wales to Rochlaw. Ben Fund Mission, hope to raise 15k. Please give a fiver or what you can.
Forward.
All the best to little Mort and friends. So there you go.
Okay. We did some comments.
There's mostly scores there.
I'm going for it. We did.
Yeah, there was some comments further down that we can look at. Oh, they've disappeared.
Well, we've got plenty of predictions obviously for this week as well. So,
It's a shame. Okay.
So you can, if you're just watching us for the first time. Well, first question is where have you been? If you want to join in, please feel free.
Second question is there anything better that you can do tonight? Yeah.
You're not going to win it at this stage unless you're absolutely brilliant and get every single
prediction. Have a bit of fun. Me and Mike are never going to win it either, but
nobody
still do it.
Nobody else is going to win it while Simon plays.
We need to do some put some sugar in his tank or something. Do you remember those days, putting sugar in the tank?
Oh, I've heard many stories about them, yeah. So,
no, I don't think so. I don't think so. So, I'm going to go back to where we started, the beginning of the night, where I asked this question: what is the best way to make a team? What's the best composition for a team? Would you? Let's forget about that just for a second. What's the best way to make a team? Do you want one good heat leader, or 3 okay heat leaders, or 2 good heat leaders, and then you haven't got so much to spend further? I mean, what's the best way?
I'm not keen on the 3 big heat leaders, because you tend to find then you have maybe a weaker bottom end, and you'll get a lot of 3-alls, but you might be relying on your 2 big hitters getting a 5-1 in 13 and 15 swing matches. Because
obviously the problem with having a really big hitter and then is if he gets injured.
Yeah.
Which is sort of the situation Ipswich have found themselves in, and Sheffield as well. Where you could go the route that Workington went the year that they won the championship, which was they never had one real superstar.
2018 they won it, didn't they?
Yeah, they didn't have one superstar in that team, but they was solid, absolutely solid all the way.
You could argue that about the Birmingham team that finished top in 2013 as well. Didn't have a big hitter, did it? But
no, because the big hitter became Martin Smolinski, which nobody would have predicted. Craig Smith, Nigel Tolley comments on BSN last night about asking stadium owners about next season is a worry as a Speedway fan. He said, if the Dogs no longer run at Perry Bar, then Speedway will also stop as too expensive and not viable on its own. If that happens, where the Dogs leave and the BSPL, I've lost it, change their rules on ground sharing, could Birmingham and Wolves not come together to run at Perry Bar? It may well be they run in different leagues, one in Premiership and one in Championship. It would save another 2 clubs disappearing.
I don't see any prospect whatsoever of Wolves running at Perry Bar.
No. That was what I would have thought you would have said.
Yeah.
Here's a question for you. Question: who was disqualified in the last 5 to 6 years for not wearing gloves at the tapes?
Oh God, I know.
Was this Cole Howarth?
I don't think so.
I've got a feeling it was. It was Cole Howarth. Lawrence
Okay.
said it was Cole Howarth. I remember that.
I knew it was at Birmingham.
Yeah.
Well, there you
It
go.
was Cole Howarth. I do remember that.
Yeah, that was a weird one.
Nobody spotted it on the terraces, but obviously the referee saw it. So,
yeah.
So why is that a requirement? What
Well, obviously you can.
safety?
It's safety. You got to. You don't want to
Got to be
injure
wearing
your hand.
goggles. You got to be goggles. Gloves.
Got to wear goggles on your hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That won't do much good.
I'm
with it.
just thinking, like, if you come off your bike, I mean,
Pete Clark, home track specialists keep the home fans happy and just hope at away meetings. I mean, that's a.
Well, to be honest, Pete's got a point there, because I would say 90% of Speedo fans only see their team at home, don't they? So.
just getting back to the Rider of the Week, I think it's Brennan's had the most.
Okay.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Thought it might have been William Carnes.
No.
Lawrence Rogers said we noticed it. Well done. And Yabu sucks for all those that said Lawrence Rogers couldn't team Manny. I just had to put that out there.
There you go.
Okay. Well, my gosh, that's the time. We might have some interesting news next week. So we are open next week, aren't we?
Yeah.
So
okay.
we might have some interesting news next week, because we're going to discuss something. An idea I've literally just had.
I was going to say, we didn't discuss this in the green room.
No.
What green
the
room?
green room. That's not the one. You've been ill again.
or the brown room.
Craig Smith says, brave not wearing gloves. I've had a few stones hit me on the back straight at Bellevue in the face and on the knuckles.
Yeah, it does hurt. It does hurt when you get that. I know that for a fact.
Simon Corbett says, rider with low averages who have got potential to raise their game and no poles. You see, it doesn't matter whether a rider's got low average. I mean, he does a little bit, but he's got to be in the right position to be able to raise his average. That's the problem we've had this year, I think, at Birmingham. Anyway, I digress. We will see you all next week, and maybe with some interesting news. Take care. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Speedway Tavern. Speedway Tavern. Speedway Tavern. Welcome to the Speedway Tavern. Enjoy your stay. to the Speedway